Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Red O'Loughlin here on The Wise Ones. And today I am super honored to have Glenda Benevides as my guest. She's a well-known singer, just been nominated for a Grammy, author, just released a couple books literally a month or so back. Anyway, just a lot of exciting things to talk about today. So Glenda, please join me.
Hi, Red.
Well, let's just jump right into the most exciting thing, the Grammy nomination. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I've been a Recording Academy member. So I've been that for like about, I think it's like going on 3 or 4 years max. And yeah, it all started where, because I've been a singer, songwriter for, I don't know, 40 years. And I thought to myself, I should have a Grammy. That's what I said to myself. And I go, well, how do you do that? And so I just got online and figured it out. And then, it was interesting because I found that there was so many steps to actually being part of the Recording Academy, and being a member of the Recording Academy, and then finding out all the amazing things that they have to offer. Everything from like dental care to whatever for artists, helping other artists out. And then, of course, there's the awards ceremonies. They call it Grammys, that type of thing. And there's just different levels, different areas to get involved in. And, just like right now I'm mentoring for Grammy University. And, it's just been really interesting and delightful to find out more about my industry and how many levels there is and how long it takes to get wherever you're going, and you have to work for it. And I think right now, what seems to be pretty powerful is that people are now working together in groups, which I think is really interesting because you have the part of the academy where they're the big sellers like Beyonce and everybody that are, they're behind, they've got big record companies behind them, and the rest of us are fairly independent. So it's just a whole different animal to like see the different levels that you either want to be involved in, or you have to aspire to, that type of thing. So it's been an interesting journey. And then this year, I was one of my songs was up for consideration, and it was called "We Walk On Past," and that song was about all the trials and challenges that we have right now, and especially around with homeless and a variety of different things, and that we all have them. And so I wanted to that was up for consideration, and it did not make the cut this year. And prior to that, I had another gentleman reach out because he had heard me singing that song and that I wrote. And yeah, thank you. We Walk On Past. And he said, "I'd love for you to be on my album." And I said, "Oh, okay. Well, just send me the song that you want me to work on." And so he did. And I worked on it, and it was an interesting project because it was contemporary blues, and that's right up my alley. Blues is good, blues and roots. And so I usually do lyrics or that type of thing, but this time he sent me the lyrics, and I was like, okay, this was strange. And then, but he didn't have a melody, so I actually worked on the melody, took his lyrics, and sang it, sent it to him. He lives in Ecuador, and he put it on the album, and he loved it. And he said he cried when he heard the song, and he put it on the album, and he was up for consideration for the album. The album's called The Fury, Antonio Vergara, excuse me. And just really, really, really a kind, sweet guy, which that warms my heart when you find out that there's someone out there, other artists out there that really care and that care about community and that type of thing. So I was super delighted to be involved in the project. And am I talking too long? I have more to the story. But yeah, so Antonio is pretty awesome, and I'm really excited to be on the album. And when it came, I was going to finish that part of the story. So when it came time for, there's a segment where we vote, and then there's a segment after that where you get to see who got nominated. And so I'm looking through the nominations. I'm like, oh, okay, did I get a nomination? I was so excited, and I was like, no, I didn't get it. No, I didn't get it. I checked all my categories, right? And then I went, oh yeah, Antonio's album. So I went to the album, and I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my God. So there it was. So that's when I got the nomination, and I was really, really stunned, I would say. Shocked and excited.
So decades later, you solved the problem of at least getting your name into the Grammy list up for consideration. So you said
well, I was up for consideration, but the nomination happened. So
okay, maybe it's just my choice of words.
No,
okay,
that's okay. It's Grammys. They're weird.
Okay, but you said earlier when you first started out the first sentence too, I guess there's a Google aspect of this. This is how you get to where you need to be in order to be considered for a nomination.
Oh my goodness, there's a whole journey to that. But you have to submit your music, and if you are, it's called for your consideration. And if you're considered, I mean, it's not, you are considered, but once people have voted, the Academy is musicians for musicians. So no one else votes except for us. So it's our peers. Our peers are voting for us in the voting process. And then what we all see as audience members, is we see Grammys. That's what we see. We see the end result. then the nominees are, and they go da 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 da, right, and then the winner is, and that's just letting the public know who we voted on. So it's not about the public voting on us, it's about us voting on us.
Okay. When you're writing lyrics for a song, and particularly in blues, there's writing that we do, if it's a romance novel, a how-to book, a sci-fi 200 years in the future. But music writing is a totally different world. And so you have success both in writing books, and we're going to get to that shortly, and in developing not only the lyrics, but the melody that goes with it. That's a pretty complex thing for the brain to wrap around. I had a brother-in-law who did that for a number of years. He was very successful about lyrics and music and getting it published. And, year after year, he'd have a new album out, boom, boom, boom. But I always sat in amazement of, okay, he's got some words he's putting together. Now he's got to get the melody to it. And it's kind of strange because he's like 60 years old when he learned how to play a piano. He played guitar all his life, but he actually went to music school and had to learn how to play. And I said, and literally within a year, he was very proficient at something that he had never done before.
Wow.
But he says it helped immensely in his writing the songs and being able to produce them accordingly. But so you've been in the music business, as you say, for decades. So how did you get into the music business?
Ooh, nothing super surprising. I mean, I felt like I was fortunate to have been in a world where music, art, that type of thing was given to us freely through the school system. You didn't have to do it privately unless you wanted to, that type of thing. But it was, it was an opportunity. You get to have it in school. It was an elective. So I started there, and I got my very first gig at 16, and I sang for a wedding. And I just knew that it was just natural. It was just something that I always wanted to do, and I just did it. And it wasn't, it wasn't like some big, I got to do this, or I want to do this. Just, I did this. That's just kind of how it was. And then the more success I got with it, then I just get, okay, this is what I'm here to do. And, I just love it. So
I read where some of your lyrics come from personal experiences.
Yeah.
Anything in there specific that you want to share with the audience with regard to the song these lyrics came from, this event in my life?
Sure. Well, I'll definitely talk about We Walk On Past, which is my newest song out, and this was considered for a Grammy. And I was just so tired of, seeing all the injustices and the things that just really that are causing challenges and trials for people. And so I just really wanted to talk about that, and so for me, it was more of like looking around me, looking at the world, looking at my life, or that type of thing. And then I get to write about it. It's like, oh, okay, because I know we're all sharing a similar reality on some levels. And you can hear it in the rhetoric. You can hear it in the the people around you. I believe you create your own reality, but at the same time, there is other people's realities, and you actually intermix. So I don't know, it was just me putting a spotlight on it. So that, I think that was the main key, was to share those injustices or those things to look at. And it's funny because, it's very poignant for today's world. So that, and then I wrote, let's see, our I Burn was last year. And then I've just been releasing singles, not albums. Singles tend to be a little easier to get done and written and produced, mixed, mastered, and then promoted. So, but maybe this year I'll be working on an album and an album concept. So anyway, that's kind of where I'm thinking what's next besides performances and being invited back to a few other festivals that are going to be happening this summer. And yeah, so I'm just moving it forward and I'm focusing on a retreat that's happening. It's called Soul on Fire, and that'll be happening in the UK. So
I still have a little bit of brain fog from the disease I had earlier this summer.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I'm so much better now than I was before, but I had everything. Okay. I want to ask you, are all of your songs in English, or do you have anything in a foreign language?
I've had a couple of songs that I sang in Spanish, but not usually. It's mostly English. Yeah, it's my first language, so don't want to bastardize anything. It's like,
Well, I know sometimes when you have lyrics in English, they make sense to us in English, but you change the language, and all of a sudden, what does that mean? Because it doesn't always translate as easily.
That's true. That's really true, actually. I know I was wanting to write. I wrote a song called "Change" a while back, and I wanted to sing it in French, and so I was trying to have a girlfriend of mine translate it a few years back. And could you just translate? It was like, ooh, this is really hard, to change it. So we kind of dropped it. We just didn't. I haven't done it or anything like that, but.
Okay, you released 2 books in September, published.
Yeah.
Literally a day apart. And one is Soul on Fire, and the other one's Own the Goddess Within.
Yeah.
So let's kind of bounce over now to the author side of your skill set.
Sure.
And these are, I guess, transformational, self-improvement, inspirational, motivational kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah. I wrote Soul on Fire actually for to kind of couple with the retreat that I'm getting ready to have this summer in the UK. So, I basically, it's, daily inspirations it's really to activate your own insights, passions, and give you daily mantras to work with, just so you can create grace and ease in your life, so growing self-love, is to me is like, is the medicine of our soul, and in a world that's kind of broken. So, or at least we feel broken. So those were kind of some of the things that I was doing with Soul on Fire. And then Own the Goddess Within. So at one point I had a workshop called Own the Goddess Within. It was a 2-day workshop. I've since stopped that now. It's just a lot of work, but it's where I was really touching on having clarity, courage, confidence, commitment, and what is that? Because that was with my first book, Courage, Find Your Fire and Ignite Action in Your Life. So those were the things that I was really intending to give people like a foundation of where do you start? Where does one start? What's my purpose? What am I here to do? What am I, what are my passions and that type of thing? When you start going down those paths, it's like, you really need to have clarity. If you don't have your clarity in your foundation, then you can't have courage. You can't have confidence or commitment. It's just kind of all over the map. So, Own the Goddess Within is just it's a real simple, like a 15-page or something. It's like real easy read, but it's kind of neat because I wanted to just help people again with lifestyle and creating self-care, and really help your spirit flourish. So, and I just really talk about ritual and invigorating your, self-care and creating that badass goddess lifestyle. So, what does that mean for you? Not just me, or my ideas, but it just gives everybody that, that little, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh yeah, that's what happens for me too. Like I'll see something or I'll read something. Oh yeah. I gotta, let me put that in my calendar. So I make sure that, I take time in the morning. I don't just jump out of bed and I'm rolling. I've done that and I've fallen downstairs. So, because that's me. I'm like, oh my God, I need time in the morning just to get here.
From the motivational self-improvement base, do you have
Yes.
a background in that before you wrote the books, or is this something you've accumulated over time and decided it's now time for me to write what I know?
Yes, I'm a doctor of, no, I'm joking. Doctor of the world, life. These are just things that I personally worked on myself. And I don't consider myself having a doctorate in anything or whatever. I have a doctorate of life. And just the things that worked for me, and I have a more practical approach. So for me, that's kind of how I started with my book, which you were just showing, Courage, Find Your Fire and Ignite Action in Your Life. I started with this book. I just thought, well, gosh, do I have anything of value to offer people? Like how I made it through the music industry, how do I made it through life? How do this, and, and so I just started writing it down. I said, okay, well, let me do a quick overview of like how I see, because a lot of times people were coming to me as like, how do you have the courage to do that? That's really scary. What are you doing? Why are you're lucky you're doing what you're doing? And I'm like, well, yeah. And there's kind of a process to it, stuff just doesn't happen like magically appears. It's your intentions. It's what you're thinking about. It's like, are you taking care of yourself? And what does that mean? And for me, it means not just a massage or a pedicure. It means I'm actually doing like maybe shadow work, or I'm doing epigenetics, or I'm filling my spirit, my mind, and my process with this is what works, this what doesn't work, and am I getting to where I want to be, and how do I see myself today versus 2 years ago, and what do I want for the future? So you're looking at all those things, and hopefully everyone's taking the time to get clarity around that. And it takes a minute. Sometimes you just don't have the answer, right away. Like, oh,
So you have two books out, plus another book that was out earlier than that. Is this a series that you will be doing over the next couple, 3 years, that you'll a third book and a fourth book or whatever?
I didn't really intend that. I didn't even actually intend on The Goddess Within or Soul on Fire. I was like, I'm done. Being an author is not easy. Writing books is, not for the faint of heart. Excuse me. So I just, these were processes and writings that I had that, and I thought I could share that. And my publicist said, please just share that with people. That could really help. So I will probably use it in my retreat. So yeah, so we'll see how that goes.
So you have 4 or 5 small books that all become part of a major book that now is part of the curriculum for a
Yeah.
course you're going to be teaching in 2031.
Yeah.
We haven't put the title on yet.
Yeah. Wait, I haven't intended, let's just say, to write any more books. It takes a minute.
Okay, your cover of your book a couple, 3 years ago, totally different than the
Yes.
Than what you have right now.
Yes.
Why a dramatic shift? Is it because of the content and the purpose of the book, or because you have your picture there on one, but the newer books are kind of a little different than that?
That's interesting. That cover should not be there. That's interesting. Yeah, that's an older cover. I just rebranded. That's all.
Okay.
This is the new cover, and I don't know why that's showing like that. This is the new cover.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one I remember seeing on your website.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'll have to look at that. That's really odd that came up.
Is there a paragraph or two in that book that you would like to read to share with the audience?
Sure.
Love to have that done.
Sure. Let's see. Okay, I like this one. So it's chapter 6. Say yes to you and no to negative, unhealthy relationships. And then, and I love this. It's a quote from Janis Joplin, which is fabulous. It says, "Don't compromise yourself. You are all you've got. There is no yesterday, no tomorrow. It's all the same day." It's pretty powerful.
As I was reading, doing some research on you, that was one of the words that was used in your lyrics and in your singing, was that powerful, that personal ability to connect. And so I can see a little bit where that's coming from, because it's so passionate within you. Have you, or do you use AI in any of your lyric development or research for what you're doing?
I have not. I use it more for technical kind of things, like just like how do I what's the process for this? Like I asked that question or something like that. How do I formulate this? Or I need a contract for X, Y, and Z, right? And then I'll fill it in, and then I'll get it. It comes up and gives me a nice format. That's how I've been using it.
Now, did you traditionally publish your last couple of books, or are these independently published?
They're all independent. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All self-published. Yeah. Your publicist does your music and your books also?
Yeah. Actually, Mickey from Creative Edge Publishing out of Canada, he's mostly been doing the interviews, and we promote my books and music. And so far, I don't have anybody right now helping me with excuse me, got all emotional there. I don't have anybody supporting me with booking agents or whatever. I've just done mostly myself, and but I am open to that. So well, got to find the right booking agent and that type of thing.
One of the exciting things I saw when I went through your website was that you have the books and you have the MP3s and you have other merchandise. But when you buy something, and I'm assuming from that website, not from Amazon, but from your website, you plant a tree?
I do. That's one of my passions. And we're up to about 400 trees now. So it's been fabulous. I love supporting One Tree Planted. And anytime somebody buys anything, I will plant a tree for you, because I actually get the response that someone's purchased it. And then so then I basically, how I look at it is, I'm planting a tree for you. So, it's usually $1. So you take it's $1 to plant a tree. So it's pretty awesome. So I get to do that. And I planted trees in Washington, California, and the UK. Yeah.
What kind of trees?
I don't know. It's whatever trees they plant.
So you're contracting that out. You're not out there with your shovel.
No. I know everyone keeps thinking that. I'm like, no, I don't do that. No.
I guess if I wanted a tree planted, it would probably be a coconut. I really love coconut trees.
Do you? Yeah.
You are singing. People can find you on YouTube and listen to your voice there.
Yeah. If you just put my name in any search engine, Glenda Benevides, or you can go to my website, glendamusic.com. That's easiest. It's easy enough to find me. I'm pretty much everywhere. You can find me on Spotify. You can find me on Apple Music, Amazon for my books. You go to my YouTube channel. You can watch all my music videos, and you can also look at my interviews. For a while there, I was doing interviews. not for the faint of heart either. Um, so I was, oh my goodness, hats off to you. And Jacalyn, Dr. Jacalyn. My goodness. It's a lot of work, people. You guys make it look easy. It is not. It is a lot of organization, coordination, and making sure that you have, the right people on your show and giving the right content. So it's a lot of work.
Now, did you create your website yourself, or is that part of the process that you contracted it out?
The wonderful thing about being an artist and a musician, you can, there's a company called bandzoogle.com, and they have tons of templates, and they offer artists templates, and you can change them out. Like I could change it out weekly if I wanted. You can change it out, and it also is hosting for like $199 a year for hosting and templates. And it's wonderful because there's so many things on there that you can do. You can sell tickets, you can sell your clothing, you can sell anything you want off of the site. And it's beautiful, and it's easy to do yourself. Like you can just pop in there and change out things. I mean, it takes a minute sometimes when you're learning, but you don't need somebody to come in and do it and spend thousands of dollars, trying to get your site updated, and then they don't show up and they don't get it done. You're like, but I've got this happening, so you just jump on yourself, and it's totally pro. It's beautiful.
How long does it typically take you to write lyrics for a song, and how long did it take you to write your last 2 books?
Gosh, I've had songs come to me within minutes, and the whole thing, you just write the whole thing. And then I've had songs that's taken weeks, just dragging along. It's not too cumbersome. The more you practice, the better you get, that type of thing. So, yeah, I always say start with the premise. Obviously, you gotta just like, what do I want to say? What's burning inside of me to share, or whatever. So, I would say you can't really tell. As far as books go, that takes a while, especially for me. I mean, I'm sure there are amazing authors that, they're really good at grammar, they're good at this, they have great ideas, they understand story, they understand plots, they understand all that kind of stuff. I mean, gosh, hats off to nonfiction people. I mean, fiction people, because that's real, you've got to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. You got to have this whole flow. Again, anything you're passionate about, go for it, and then really study it, like really get in there, get your hands dirty and figure it out. And then you can step back and go, am I really committed to this? It's like, oh, not really, or this is not really my passion. Yeah, I can do that, but that's not really it, So yeah, it's up for grabs for everybody, because who knows, my 10-minute writing session may take you 5 days, and vice versa. So it's who you are, whatever. I don't know how to say that. It's different every time.
Yeah, some people follow the individual author or the person, the artist, the singer, but you have, in this particular case, you have blues as your music, but you have transformational, inspirational, motivational, self-improvement as your books. 2 entirely different audiences. Do you market the same for both, or is there some assistance better derived from the singing and music area as opposed to the book area? I'm not sure how I would market either one of those. Just totally different.
Red, that's a really great question. I actually never thought of it from that perspective, really, because for me, it's, even though I'm singing the blues, blues roots, my music is more transformational. So, which is in alignment with my books. Okay. It is me. It is authentic. It is who I am, what I am saying. So it's the same thing to me. I'm not a crying in your beer kind of, oh, look at me, life is horrible blues. blues slash roots. It's a hybrid. So it's really interesting. And so I market myself from more of a place of emotional marketing to that a graphic, which would be people that like transformation. Even though you may not listen to blues or roots music, you're still gonna, you're gonna get transformational style. That type of like, I'm gonna talk about those things from more of a perspective of you can have what you want, kind of energetics. Yeah, I don't know if that answered the question, but yeah, that's good food for thought, actually. But it's kind of like you get what what you're seeing. It's like whether I'm singing blues, jazz, versus writing a book. So
How do
it's all
people get your music? How do they get your books? And how do they get a tree planted?
yes. Well, obviously there's streaming platforms, so you don't have to, that's free for whoever's purchased streaming platforms, I guess. I try not to support the streaming platforms. They don't actually pay you, really. You get point. This is crazy. I had 60,000 streams and I made like $2, and like, it's insane. If I would have sold 60,000 songs for $1 a piece, do the math. So I say, if you can support artists, don't be lazy, support artists, go to their website, purchase their merchandise, purchase their music, watch their videos, that type of thing, and try to stay away from the streaming platforms, because that doesn't really support us. It's not about us, it's about them, it's about their business. So, and they're utilizing our talent, our hearts, our all to promote their platforms, not really us, And if people, there's a beautiful falsehood that floats around of, oh, but you get visibility. And I'm like, no, you don't. You are one of a million people on those streaming platforms. You still have to market yourself. You still have to reach out to people. You still have to tour or whatever. You still have to do the work. You just don't put it up on the platform and it's just like, I'm getting visibility. That's the lie that they tell you so they can take your money. And so I say, just if you can, support me, support other artists, because it keeps art alive and it allows for more art to be seen, shown, experienced. And so just go to the website and then dig around, or put me in a browser and then look around and just see. And then once I know that you're buying from me, I'll go ahead and plant a tree. So
Okay. So Glenda Music's probably the easiest one to get. Glenda.
probably, yeah.
Yeah. So for our audio audience, Glenda, Glenda Music, music.com. And
Correct.
that will get you just about anything that will end up with a tree being planted.
Yes.
Fantastic. Glenda, thank you so very much for your time today. I really and truly enjoyed our conversation. I learned a lot. It's an area I didn't know much about, and I'm glad that you took the time to explain it. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Red. Great questions. I really appreciate you.
And good luck in England next year. I'm sure it's going to be a total smash. So
yeah, it's going to be fun, and we'll talk about that when we get a little closer. I'll have to pop back on, and we're getting to feature Dr. Jacalyn, so she'll be with us on that retreat weekend.
Well, take care, and we'll catch you later on.
All right. Thanks so much.
This is Red O'Loughlin wrapping up the Wise Ones on the USA Global TV and Radio Network today. In about 20 minutes, Talking Heads will be my presentation. I typically have done 4 to 6 to 8 weekly episodes on a topic such as cancer, Alzheimer's, weight loss, whatever. I decided here a little while back, just very recently, what would I do? And then I have a topic such as aging. Right now, the topic today is going to be a healthy lifestyle. What is a healthy lifestyle, and what would I do if I wanted to get there? And so that's the direction I'm moving in today. Please join me on, again, the USA Global TV and Radio Network, Talking Heads, Red O'Loughlin. And with that, I'm getting ready to sign off for today and look forward to seeing you all next week. So take care, y'all. Bye now.